Pisces, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Keeping in mind these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements for a more complete picture. And if you would like a personal reading, you can find the link for that in the description below. You can just send me an email as well. Okay, my friends, let's get started. For Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising, what is the energy around the week ahead for Pisces? Okay, seeing that leg up card come up, so that tells me it's time to be more sort of open to receiving support, Pisces, because I feel like you could benefit from support right now, but you might not be feeling like very confident to be open to it or to make a move on something that's necessary. So that leg up could be support coming in for you at a time where you don't feel terribly confident to make a shift outside of, it almost feels like bringing closure to some limited beliefs or some self-criticism, some self-judgment is happening here. And it's actually so important that you just keep moving forward right now, Pisces, because I feel like you're on the brink of some big shifts. But you know what? It's bringing up this this shadow work for you that says, I don't belong, or I'm not loved, or I've been forgotten, I've been cast out, I've been rejected. And that could be something that has happened in this moment, or it could have been just something that happened long ago and has remained with you as sort of a wound or a shadow that says, I will never belong and I will never feel loved. And it's time to depart from that sort of thinking. And it feels like it's time to leave that in the past and to sort of have the courage and to bring closure to that. To sort of hold your inner child and say, you are loved and I got you. You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting because it kind of feels like there's some past wounds that are surfacing right now, and they're surfacing so that you can bring healing to them and release them, so that you can release those wounds, release resentments, release that critical nature, like so that you can really love yourself, because that's what you need right now. Being critical of yourself and judging yourself right now is lowering your confidence to keep moving towards something that feels like it's so important that you just keep moving towards it. And it's interesting, you have card 48 and 47 here. So I really feel like you're moving towards something, and it's like you're starting to doubt yourself. And it's interesting. It's like you've been, the interesting thing, this card, when it comes up in the reverse, it sort of mentions this idea of wandering in the desert and nothing is happening. And so you start to lose confidence that whatever it is that you're working on is going to materialize. And then you become very critical of yourself and you start judging yourself. And then this wound comes up and says, well, what do you expect? We never get what we want, and we're always rejected. And it's like that voice needs to be loved. That's an angry inner child that feels rejected. And it's the true name of its anger is sadness. It's grief, is that's where that anger is coming from. You hear that idea that if you ask your anger long enough what its true name is, you'll find out you're angry because you feel this sense of how dare you. It's a how dare you moment. Like, how dare this idea of mine that I'm working on not be successful? And why am I proving that part of myself, that wounded part of myself, is being proven right? That I'm no good, and that I'm not worthy, I'm not enough. That's what's coming through here, Pisces. So you're really being guided to bring closure to that, to end that never-ending story, to end that that narrative that says I'm not enough, I'm no good, and I'll never be enough, and I'll never be any good. Seeing the leg up card, which started your reading, says be open to support. You might just need some assistance to get this off the ground, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with getting some assistance from someone who's an expert maybe in what you're doing, or it could just be being open to receiving support even from the universe, and trusting that you are not forgotten, you are not cast out, you are not rejected. You just might need a fine tuning in an area, in whatever it is that you're working on, to remind you to keep going. Because like I said, you've been wandering in the metaphorical desert for a long time, and it feels like nothing is happening. But actually, I feel like you may just be around the corner from a big finish line. You just can't see it, right? You just can't see it yet. And it's time to leave these narratives in the dust of this desert as you cross that finish line. And I feel like you move into something wondrous. Look at, as I cut the deck, we get the 9 of Cups and the Temperance card. The Temperance is really about trusting the timing. Trust that timing. And this 9 of Cups, it's like you get your wish. Your wish comes true. Your dreams come true. So don't give up on them. Don't give up on them. If anything, this is teaching you to hold that inner child and release that narrative that keeps that inner child feeling angry. And we know the true name of his or her anger is actually sadness, from feeling like separate from their desires. You're not separate from your desires. I feel like you're as separate from your desires as you believe you are. And right now you believe you're separate from your desires and that you won't achieve your dreams. But I feel like that's a limited narrative that your inner child almost uses as a defense mechanism, so that when things don't happen, they don't feel as disappointed. But it's interesting. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I love that the 9 of Cups stays on the bottom of the deck for you, reminding you you're going to get your wish. This is such a happy card because this guy's literally intoxicated on his dreams coming true. You know what I mean? Like, he's drinking life out of those cups, and he's intoxicated with joy and fulfillment and happiness. And his world has just, completely come through his dreaming. He's reached that stage. Okay, let's jump into the tarot cards and see what messages you'll receive. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Swords and the Hierophant both in reverse. So starting your reading off with those two cards tells me that there could be a lot of change coming your way, that you're being guided to sort of shift this narrative, because this Knight of Swords brings in a lot of change. And when he shows up in the reverse, I always feel like that change is something that you have to be open to receive, which is how this reading started with that leg up card. So you might need to be open to some considerable amount of change and get your energy focused on what it is you want to see manifest in your physical reality. Because right now I feel like if you keep this narrative that you're not enough, and that this idea of I never get what I want, that is going to keep you in a very sort of closed place where you're not necessarily open to receiving. And it's limiting, to say the least, right? It's limiting you, and it's coming to the surface for you to bring love to it and healing to it, not criticism and judgment of yourself, which might be where you sort of feel comfortable, to be honest, Pisces. You might feel like you're holding yourself accountable in some way when you judge yourself and you're critical of yourself. But really what's happening is that it unfocuses your energy and it holds you back. And if anything, it just brings in frustration and these sort of closed off, emotionally unavailable moments, because you're not open when you've decided that what the outcome is going to be, that it's not going to work, then you're not open to receive, right? Sometimes we have to, I would argue most times we have to surrender the idea of what the outcome should or shouldn't be, because that the idea is that the journey will get you wherever it is that you're meant to go, that will expand you to your highest good. You know what I mean? And sometimes we can't see what our highest good is because we're too used to being so critical, feeling like we're not enough, judging ourselves, and leaving things in a place where it feels like we haven't closed the loop on some wounds. We haven't treated those wounds. And so they just sit there, and they, what they do, right? If you have a cut and you don't attend to it, it just gets worse and worse, right? Like it'll get infected, and then the blood supply gets low, and then the finger might, or I'm imagining a cut on my finger. Your finger might actually be in jeopardy, right? Like it's any wound that you see in your physical body, you have to go manage that wound, right? You might need to clean it, bandage it. You might need stitches. You might need surgery. Who knows the extent of how deep this metaphorical wound goes. But when we have a wound on our physical body, we attend to it. Generally speaking, we go see a doctor, we seek treatment. Or maybe it's a very superficial wound that we can manage at home with a Band-Aid and some rubbing alcohol to clean it, and a bandage, and then, making sure that it doesn't get worse, keeping an eye on it, kind of thing, right? But it almost feels like that's a metaphor for this inner child wound that you've been carrying around here, that is, it's just unfocusing your energy. And it's creating a self-fulfilling prophecy where, things might not move forward. You might feel stuck. We're seeing the Hierophant next in reverse, next to that knight. And when the Hierophant shows up in reverse, again, it reveals outdated ways of thinking, doing, feeling, being. It reveals a need to go against something that feels like it's the norm. It reveals an ego-based sort of stagnation. And it sometimes can reveal an abuse of power. And I'm sort of feeling that abuse of power here, in the sense of how your inner child is responding to this criticism. It almost feels like your inner child needs to be loved into confidence here, not judged or shamed, because that's not going to make any child feel confident. It's almost like taking a 2-year-old and saying, okay, well, good luck out there. You've had enough of my parenting to know what to do in the world. So best of luck. Out you go. And it's like, but I'm 2. What do you mean? I need more support. I need more attention. I need more love. I need more guidance. I'm 2 years old. Like, that's, your inner child cannot be forced, judged, or shamed into understanding how to feel like confident and how to feel like they are able to make choices that leave them open, right? I feel like there's a lot of closed off energy here, and it could be, Pisces, that's all coming to the surface for you to heal it. Seeing the 2 of Swords tells me here that you've got to get mindful about what you're choosing for yourself. Get mindful about your narrative, right? Get mindful, get conscious about what you're saying to yourself. Increase the level of awareness. Don't just say the same old story to yourself, because that's the story you've been telling yourself. There's an opportunity here that you could be missing because you're overly focused on those past emotions, and you could miss out on something here. I feel like it's going to shift into your energy anyway, but you have to be open to receive it. The interesting thing about the Four of Cups is that he's so distracted by those 3 cups, he doesn't see that hand reaching out from the mountain with a new opportunity. And so this leads to the 5 of Cups, which is a time where we really regret things and we can't let go of something. So I feel like you're getting the 2 of Swords and the 4 of Cups because it's like, choose your focus. Focus on something here that ends the shame and the criticism and the judgment. Close a loop on that wound for your inner child so that you don't miss out on stuff. You know what I mean? Pisces, it's interesting looking at your reading. I feel like the opening up to receiving is important. You might be the kind of person that thinks, no, I can do it all by myself. I don't need support from anyone. And that can be part of the wound, right? That's part of the defense mechanism that operates in a wounded inner child that says, I don't need anyone. And really what that translates to is I don't feel worthy of support. I don't feel like I deserve love and support. And that robs you of your confidence to make moves here. And it keeps you blindfolded in terms of the direction you're moving in. It robs you of your conscious awareness when we slip into those defense mechanisms and we don't consciously say, I know that this is coming up because of these reasons, and I'm not going to move forward in that way. This idea that I'm not enough or I don't deserve support and love is coming up for these reasons, but those reasons were in the past, and I'm going to hold and love my inner child, and that will give them the confidence to use a new narrative that says there's nothing wrong with being open and receiving, and that I don't have to do everything by myself, and I don't have to, that this idea that by relying on other people for certain things or being open to things, that doesn't mean any less of you. If anything, it's the opposite. It means that you're open, right? And you don't see that you have to do everything by yourself. There's the Page of Swords, bringing in this new idea bit by bit and guiding you to understand the world in a different way. Seeing the 10 of Cups come out for you in reverse says that your emotional fulfillment is here, but you don't see it. You can't find a pathway to it. And I feel like this opens up for you when you open up. This becomes available to you when you become emotionally available to it. Does that make sense? Like, you have to hold this vibration first. And there's the Devil coming up in reverse, confirming this idea of shadow work that has to happen. This idea of bringing healing to that inner child and not feeling like it has more power, these limited thoughts, that they have more power over you than love. You can love this inner child into the light because it's hiding in the shadows right now because it's afraid. It's angry and it's afraid and it feels like not enough. It doesn't feel worthy of love or support. And I feel like there is a refusal to sort of acknowledge that. It's almost like you don't want to. 3 of Cups. So this is telling me the same sort of message. Be open. Be open to allow people to help and support you and love you. Be open to that, Pisces. That 3 of Cups is Cancer energy. So it makes me feel like you could move out of a certain place that you're stuck in right now if you allow people in. If you allow people to love you and support you. Seeing the King of Cups now, that's Scorpio energy, which makes me feel like you've got to come up to the surface, right? You've got to rise to the surface of that emotional sort of environment that you're in that's sort of pulling you down a little bit. And I feel like seeing the King of Cups says it's time to become renewed on the emotional level. and to not be sort of fantasizing necessarily, but actualizing, choosing something instead of sort of being overly daydreamy about stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with daydreaming about any, I love daydreaming, but it's almost like you've got to focus that energy. You can't sort of scatter it right now. Right now, you need to focus. You need to specialize. You need to be laser focused on your target. Laser focused on your target is what you need right now, Pisces, because it's all leading you to this beautiful chapter of self-discovery where I feel like you're on an adventure when I see this card. You could be moving from feeling like everything is outside of the realm of possibility to being smack in the center of that possibility. Like this. I really feel like it's a shift in the mindset. It's a shift in the narrative. And it's this idea of focusing your energy rather than having it scattered all over the place. Because honestly, I feel like it's a fear that there's a fear here. As I cut the clarifying deck, we see the Ten of Pentacles with the Strength card. So that tells me one of your underlying fears is that you won't be able to stabilize yourself and have security. But as you can see, Ten of Cups, I mean, not only are you going to have security and stability in the material world, but you're going to leave a legacy. You're going to have a legacy here. You're building that. And all you need really is the courage to do it. The courage and the faith in yourself to feel like you can overcome anything. She's got her hands in the mouth of a lion there. So, it's interesting. I feel like everything in this reading is trying to guide you to trust yourself and to end this cycle and storyline that you can't and that you're not enough. Let's clarify. Ooh. Oh, look at this. This is so perfect. Six of Cups, Ten of Swords, Ace of Cups. So these three cards coming out together, to me, confirm what we're talking about. Your inner child has hit rock bottom, and now it's time to love that inner child to the surface. Love them into the now. This inner child has suffered something that has shifted their narrative into one that says, I can't, I won't, I don't know how, and I can do it by myself. And it's like I'm getting this visual of a child trying to tie their shoes. It's a funny visual coming into my mind of a child trying to tie their shoes, and they don't know how to tie their shoes yet. Like they haven't learned that yet. And because they feel this lack of openness to others, they're sitting there desperately trying to tie their shoes and not knowing how to do it. And someone's standing there going, do you want some help? And no, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. And being patient with that inner child instead of being like, why don't you accept help? That's wrong. Let me help you. And sort of grabbing them and tying their shoe by force for them. It's like, no, don't judge them. Don't shame them. Don't just embrace them with love and patience. And maybe bend down and tie your shoe, and then they'll see you do it. And then they'll be like, oh, that's how they do it. Okay, hang on. And then they might, slowly be willing to say, hey, could you do that again and do it a little slower so I can see how you did it? Oh, yeah, for sure. Let me show you. Let me show you on your shoe so that you can see, and it's like re-parenting that inner child. You know what I mean by that? It really feels like re-parenting that inner child with love and patience. And even emotions, balanced emotions, like that King of Cups. Staying out of any kind of drama or old storylines, and just loving that inner child into confidence in themselves, and holding that child, right? Like, okay, so interesting. Seeing Temperance. Trusting this process, seeing the Queen of Cups. You got the King and the Queen of Cups here, Five of Cups and Seven of Pentacles. So these cards tell me that truly love is the only pathway for you to open up that inner child right now. And that don't give up. on what you're working on, because it's about to come into fruition. It's just, you're at the point of the journey right now where it's time for acknowledgement of the narrative you're telling yourself, and the narrative that you're believing right now is one that is based in the past. It's not in the present. You're using past disappointments to guide you right now into stopping what you're doing. You're giving up too early. You're giving up. Don't give up. You got this energy here that says keep going and trust the divine timing here. Don't give up. Don't be so focused on outcomes that you're giving up prematurely. I don't think you're going to need to. I think you're going to keep going. Actually, this is expanding. It's not slowing down. And trusting the divine timing of all of this is interesting to me, because I feel like it's all happening to heal a wound that will help you acknowledge that you're actually creating your reality with your beliefs, your narratives, and that you have all the tools to create the reality. You're already creating your reality. You think it goes the other way. Right now you feel like a victim of reality, but you're writing this story. You're narrating this story. You're the author and the architect here when I see the Magician on the bottom of the deck. So you just got to change the story, and then you got to believe it, right? You got to change it. Sometimes the belief, the belief comes before the evidence. Do you know what I mean? Like the evidence comes after the belief. And so think about that for a minute. Sit with that. Let's see what guidance you'll receive here to close your reading, Pisces. Okay, we see gateway and wonders. Yeah, like I really do feel like you're about to move through that gateway, and you just don't give up. You're so close to achieving whatever goal you wanted to achieve, and whatever wonders you seek they're just on the doorstep here. So wonders will be abounding in your life. It's so true. Sometimes they won't be apparent at first, but they're there. The more you see them, the more you embrace them, the more possibilities will grow in magnitude. Celebrate and cherish all your accomplishments at this point, no matter what. If they seem tiny, doesn't matter. Release the expectations of outcome, and don't limit the way that you think that these wondrous events could appear in your life. Be open. If you believe, anything and everything is possible. I'm reading that right out of the guidebook for you. I love these cards. I love the way that the messages have been written. This is just around the corner. It says that, just around the corner, exciting possibilities are awaiting you. If you give up now, you'll never realize that. So it's interesting. Now this gateway card adds to this intriguingness with this idea that says here magic is afoot. Remember, you got the Magician on the bottom of the deck. Wondrous events are unfolding. Profound revelations and inner illuminations are close at hand. It is now much easier to manifest your dreams. This is an excellent time to take action on your visions for the future. A small amount of action now will generate much bigger results later. Gateways are like the spirit world, the universe, God, however you resonate with that, are opening, and there are places where the veil is especially thin. I feel like you have the opportunity to really see inside yourself right now. And it starts by healing that inner child. That's where it all begins for you. That'll allow you to open your heart to this magical energy. You have to be open to receive, right? The more you become aware of the small marvels in your life, the more likely they're going to grow in magnitude. Pisces, what a fascinating reading. I just got to say, I feel like, this is all happening to get you to your highest good. And no matter what is happening around you right in this moment, you are moving towards your highest good. And your inner child needs you to love them. Don't be critical and judge yourself, because that's only going to rob you of your confidence and close you up even tighter. You need to love that inner child so that they're willing to open up to the magic within them. And this is going to lead to wondrous, wondrous things. Wow, I love this reading for you. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you, Pisces, for being here today. I hope this has been helpful. I look forward to reading for you again soon, my friends. Take care. Sending you so much love and light.